This should be played at high volume.
Yo, it's July 1st. It's July 1st, right?
Yep.
It's July 1st. Shout out BAYGO. He's in the building with us, man.
What's up? What's up?
Fire Beats. Know some people that I know, Sumi, who actually makes some really good music, and I'm not sure. I'm gonna ask if what songs you're producing it. But I checked out your gram and I noticed you're Kanye West. You're an artist slash producer. And you're more taking on the artist side on your Instagram, but you are showcasing beats, and I guess everything you're rapping on is your beat, of course. So are you like collabing with other producers too, or like is it just you in the beat?
So it really depends. I have a lot of people that started sending me loops, especially after I got a song posted on Thizzler, and I just had like a couple producers come in and just kind of just start sending me loops. So I always love to collab. I mean, I think that's
a new thing.
Yeah,
right? Is producers kind of hooking up and collabing with each other on loops, right? And what are loops? Is it like a sample melody, or is that like the sample?
So they more of just, they'll make like a melody, they'll make a loop of some sort of just like a couple sorted instruments, and then you get the stems with it as well, and then you just kind of go from there. You can change it up, half time it, pitch it down, pitch it up, add your own instruments, take out the other ones and stuff too. And then you build the rest of the song from it too.
Because some people are just good at bass and drums. Some people are just good at the drums and the kicks and kind of stuff like that, right? Or is it, what are you seeing out there? Like, why do you want to collab with certain producers? Is it just their overall sound, or they're kind of good at kicks and their drums? And
I think it all comes from inspiration. Like, if you can, sometimes you're sitting there and you're making a beat and it just comes like supernatural. You have like a note in your head and you just kind of just go from there. But sometimes when you're lacking like that click that you can get sometimes when you're producing, it's good to kind of get an extra, I guess, like way of getting that inspiration to kind of start making a beat.
Right. And I, like in my era growing up, like you didn't have a lot of producers who made beats and rap, because it's kind of difficult. It's like drummers kind of don't sing and rap in bands and stuff like that, because you're so kind of focused on one side. Now it's different, more this generation definitely do it. It's more control over your sound. Don't you think that's how important that is though to an artist, and like what their sound is and how the beats are going to dictate that, and how you guys kind of have that?
Yeah, I think that's one advantage of making all my own beats and kind of being involved in all aspects of like the creative process, is that since I'm able to do whatever I need to do, or talk in the right language for producing, songwriting, and then mixing and mastering, I can make sure everything comes out as one cohesive song, instead of just being a beat maker and then sending out that beat to an artist. They do their own thing on it. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And like, I can actually provide feedback on each aspect, so I could build songs, because that's really what I like doing at the end of the day. Like I send out beats. I have a couple tracks that I've produced, but really it's just, I just want to build songs and just create like those experiences for people too.
When you say it didn't work out, like in what context did you mean that it didn't work out? Like they didn't send it back, or the song didn't sound right, or
the song didn't sound right? Yeah,
I think this generation does that more, which is great. Than our generation, we kind of just made a collab. That's that. But you guys would just be like, yeah, that's not hot. That's not hot. Let's just do it, or that didn't work out. Or you guys are more hard on yourselves to say like that didn't work out, which is more of understanding that it's just a song in that appropriate moment. It's maybe not y'all. Because songs are these weird collab issues where you're tuned in on these different frequencies and vibes of that particular beat.
Yeah,
you got to match that energy verbally or vocally, right?
Yeah, I think that like the best songs are made by people who at least either have like a mutual respect for each other's like opinions, or just people that are just good friends. Because when you're not good friends with somebody, or you don't know them that well, it's hard to understand how to like communicate with them. Because Mike Dean also said this too in an interview a while back. Like as a producer, you kind of are like a psychologist. You have to be able to understand the artist that you're working with, and same thing if two artists are going to do something that's very cohesive, bouncing off of each other, talking about like a concept and building a whole song around a singular like concept instead of just laying like bullshit in a hook and then going in on the verses and stuff like that. You know, like if you really want to build like a song, I really do feel like there has to be some level of chemistry or connection between artist, producer, engineer, if everything's going to come out right.
Yeah, you hear it in certain people's music, you know, that are big, actually, the people that we like. But songs can be very well thought out and have a story and a plot line, and the beat matches and the lyric matches and almost like the sound of the voice matches. So I don't know, a lot more people are doing music these days, and there's a lot better collaborations out there.
Yeah, but also the problem is too is now it's just, I mean, what I noticed kind of coming into the game, because I've been doing it for about like 2 years. I feel like it's just so oversaturated. So now it's not even necessarily about being able to make that good beat. It's about knowing who to get that beat to it, like from the producer side too.
Yeah. Well, and all the creativity is going to go into the marketing of marketing that song, that
Definitely.
single. And then in this day and age, what's really fun is how the products that you entail around it, or the vibe and the color scheme that you give it, you know, all that's very important, you know. And I'm saying, especially what I see in successful song marketing is that a lot of people are selling a product along with it, which is kind of easy to get these days because you can go to like sites like Ollie's, what is that? AliExpress, I think, and you can get stuff overseas, like really, so you can get like a bunch of like
you could just drop ship it,
chest bags,
even like Vistaprint too. You can do that as well.
Vistaprint, put your song name on there, promote it in any certain type of way.
I think nowadays producers and artists are kind of forced, because of like how saturated everything is. They're forced to kind of become entrepreneurs in like their own right. I feel like a lot of the stuff that happened, you know, 20 years ago, mostly it was like getting discovered by like a label and not really staying.
Music, right?
That too, of course.
And the label providing all the imagery.
Yeah.
But now it's on you guys.
Definitely. And
provide all the imagery.
Yeah, and like, you know, you gotta do YouTube, you gotta do TikTok, all of these different ways to hopefully get your music out to the right people. And you know, that viral moment that can happen from anything, it's like that's what could take your music to the next level too.
And it seemed like now, before it'd be like you have to dig all platforms, but I think it's almost coming to a point now that you're gonna have to pick what platforms you want to excel in, because there's so many platforms to jump back and forth on between Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and there's probably even Twitch. What is it? Twitter?
Twitter.
Not Twitter.
Twitch.
Twitch, which is a popular one right now.
Yeah, I think that it all kind of like, it all works with like routine. Like if you have a solid routine and you kind of just know exactly when you're going to do this and then when you're going to do that, you know, and you're doing it right for each platform. A lot of the content that you can post on TikTok, if you don't edit it like on TikTok and you don't have like a watermark on it, you can kind of just post it again on Reels. Right. You could post it again on Snapchat if you want to, stuff like that.
Snapchat too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can kind of just go back and forth like that. But it definitely, there's probably definitely going to be like a priority to where you're posting. But I feel like each social media kind of has their own, I guess, like a certain amount you should be posting on it, kind of like per day. You know, like Instagram, probably, you know, once or twice a day.
So it's per day then, right? You definitely agree with the per day.
Yeah, except like YouTube. I feel like YouTube, you don't have to post like every single day on YouTube. Yeah. But
you don't. Well, YouTube's a weird algorithm.
Definitely.
And it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
For podcasting, I gotta at least post once a week, I think.
Mm.
Or I think what made Joe Rogan incredible on his was that he posted like 3 times a week, and they were like at least 1 to 2 hours long each time. So I don't know if that helped his algorithm. And I don't know what helps music video algorithms, because those got to be tough. But I know hashtags come into play, and stuff like that. I actually downloaded a book from Audible that I want to learn YouTube tips on, which I kind of always felt weird to learn YouTube app tricks on a book that's printed.
Yeah,
I just feel like that's outdated by the time it's printed. But you know,
that is true.
Have you ever read those books though?
I mean, I feel like human emotions don't really change, but like maybe the exact ways you can get in that algorithm do. So I mean, if it's something that's more based on like what type of content you can make and like ways to pull in an audience too, like with your marketing, then it's more valuable, because that's kind of just timeless information.
Yeah. Because artists got to make more content than just music nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm. But even with your music as well too, it's like your music also has to pull people in, because it has to be who you are.
It has to be good,
right?
Fit the bill.
Yeah, definitely. It has to fit the bill for sure.
And I think that's what's so good about having, like you said, oversaturated, but you have better fits now for people doing the type of music they're doing. And it's something that I called before, like 5-10 years ago, that genres are going to get really specified and more subcategorized too, which they are kind of getting. There is no more punk rock. Did you know more punk rock?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so it had its scene, and it's not even existed anymore. You know what I mean? It's because there's so many like subcategories of hip hop. I felt like this generation kind of gets to, you know, be creative with, you know what I mean? I don't know if you feel that, but like there's just so many subcategories in
definitely
hip-hop, right?
I think in hip hop, what makes hip hop such a weird genre is that it's really like hyper local based on like where you live.
Yeah.
So like Bay Area, you know, even just California, if you were just sum up California's music compared to like what people are making in Texas and what's hot in Texas, and then New York, and then what's hot in Miami, you know, of course there's a couple songs that will make it out to those listeners, but mainly people aren't going to be listening to like New York drill in LA clubs. Right. And each area kind of seems to have their own, just like a subgenre of hip hop that doesn't really have any classification towards it other than like, oh, this is Bay Area. Oh, this is LA. Yeah. This is like Texas. This is Detroit, you know?
Yeah. It's very, definitely very subcategory too, which I think is better because you don't really have as many nationwide people sucking up all the dollars from every region. You know, you have a lot more known entities from their region being supported by their region, which I think actually makes more economical sense in terms of a musical landscape.
True, but I also think that it's weird that I know a few artists that are bigger than me, and they are bigger than me right now, and they are like
in terms of traction on
Spotify, whatever.
Right.
But their fan bases aren't even here. Like they have fan bases in different states that you wouldn't even guess, and that's where they get a lot of their listeners from.
Yeah, we're going into that SoundCloud topic, then the SoundCloud rapper era. That's what they said about SoundCloud rappers coming up. That because that was a tough transition for artists, right? They would sell albums and they would make money and points off an album, but then, you know, you had who I predominantly thought of was like 6ix9ine coming from that SoundCloud area.
Yeah, you got like Uzi too. You got
which are huge, but SoundCloud had their algorithm so on point, I think, to me, because if you post good music on SoundCloud, you're gonna get numbers. That's just what I seen. Like with artists, they didn't have to do any marketing. As long as you had good music, it would kind of get found and kind of risen to the top of SoundCloud rings. That's what I kind of miss about SoundCloud. It's not really used.
People still use it, I'd say.
It's more on Spotify now. I've never heard anyone promote their SoundCloud.
Yeah, I mean, people will, but I think it's also, I guess, not as promoted as it used to be anymore. Like, I feel like it's definitely falling off, but
who knows? I mean, is it just there as a spectrum to see what you're playing? Are you still on there?
Yeah, I use all platforms I can post my music on.
And do you feel that the SoundCloud numbers are lower on SoundCloud? Or
I'd say
Spotify doesn't even tell you. Do they tell you?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
They tell you normally it's just right next to the post. They'll only tell you though if it's above 1,000.
Right. Okay. So not all my podcasts are above 1,000 views on Spotify. I noticed that. So I don't always.
Where do you normally put this out?
YouTube,
Spotify.
But to be honest, the Instagram clips get the most traction.
That makes sense
because most of my work has been on Instagram. You know what I mean? Which I should put work in other platforms because I see the benefit. I've been studying YouTube a lot. A lot of YouTube influencers and the money they make on YouTube is.
What have you learned?
Well, not much to be honest with you, but like just what they're learning, what a lot of influencers are learning, how they're making their money, how much they're making, their algorithms. Like this one lady who's like a lawyer, she's kind of famous on Instagram now. She's been kind of showing like very transparently what she makes on YouTube. I thought was kind of cool, and then she kind of teaches you tips on how to grow it. But just like you said, the algorithm, the posting of it, the editing involved in it, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
have to really edit well.
Yeah, I wish that, you know, like it'd be cool if all of this stuff could just be, you know, merit based, but that's like a land of fantasy because, you know, we live in a society that it's like money and views really kind of go hand in hand, right? Like if you have more people seeing you, then you're gonna make more money, which means you're gonna be able to pay for more marketing.
Well, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's all marketing.
It's all about clickbait and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you're making good music, but ultimately, it's just to get people to click.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would just play in a diner for
True. You know, I still do things like that though. Yeah, you gotta. I feel like the mouth to mouth, you know, just conversational stuff. I feel like that's where I've gained the most traction out of a lot of things. Just being out there. Like I have business cards and stuff, so I'm just handing them out. You know, if people want to have me spit a little freestyle or something, I do stuff like that.
That's the funnest part of your career is the beginning.
Yeah,
that's the most, I think, magical time. Like someone's gonna look back and be like, "Man, that was golden, man." Because I used to be an artist, and everything I did back then is just like covered in like crazy cool goo memory, you know, where it just seems golden. You know what I mean? And I'm sure like getting big doesn't really seem, from what and I've seen people get big in front of me, doesn't seem to solve anything. You know, a lot of problems get amplified. A lot of people get more pandemic-like because they cut themselves off on a lot of people, and you don't communicate as much, and you're kind of riding a high of you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig.
It definitely is. I feel like it takes a lot of your energy to be able to kind of just keep your music growing consistently. You know, like just always pushing to make better music. Like what's that next flow, that next sound? Yeah. You know, I think that it also consumes just a lot of your social battery too. So when people are, you know, when I'm working on music a lot and then I try and go out and go socialize, it's not as like easy, I guess, or it's not as natural. It feels like I'm forcing it because I so much of that.
You're in the zone, right?
Yeah.
You got to break out of it.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like that zone, you know, I feel like being creative too is like with that studio stamina, you know, it's about extending that zone as much as possible to see how long you can kind of keep yourself being as creative as possible too.
I don't think that's hard though, if you really love music.
Yeah,
I was an artist. I love being in the studio. I mean, I prefer it other than going out.
Definitely, but I mean, I make beats out of like my bedroom, you know. So it's like I wake up and immediately I'll get on the computer. So it's for me, I'm doing like 8 hours, 6 hour days, just consistently with almost like no days off, like just always in there. So it's like eventually you learn how to deal with burnout, and then once you get to burnout, it's like, how can you get rid of it? You know, sometimes you have to take a day off and then go back into it. It's how quick you can, how long you can work until you hit that burnout, and how quick you can like turn that burnout into new creative energy.
It's easier to burn out on beats than it is to create music, though.
I think so too.
I think so. You know, just from my short view of being an artist, like producers burn out making beats. It's just
because I can make 5 different vibes in the same day, but making a song, it's a lot harder to make 5 different songs unless I literally just freestyle them and maybe bullshit half of them.
Oh, so you find it easier to make 5 different beats and 5 different songs in a day?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because it's a lot easier. I mean, it doesn't really require much of a concept. It's really just like, okay, this note sounds good. This sound sounds good. Let me just make a little melody out of it, make some chords, make some drums, arrange it. I mean, that process can take like as little as like 30 minutes.
Right. As opposed to just writing a well thought out song that has structure and the whole thing to it. Yeah, I can see that, man. Probably was just people bullshitting, freestyling back in the day. That's what they're doing now too. A lot of just punching in and freestyling.
Yeah, but I think some of it has like class to it too. I mean, I kind of like
song. Depends on the song.
Definitely.
The song has attitude, and you know, I think freestyling is really good for it.
Yeah, because I've been following a lot Y&J. It's like this artist out of like Detroit.
Oh, Y&J from okay.
Yeah, and their music is cool because they do like one line punch-ins, but like most of the time, like the emotion that they provoke out of you, it feels kind of like new, where it's like the song's hard, but then every other bar or every couple of bars, they're like making you laugh type of shit. Yeah. You know, or there's like a caption. It's kind of like also One Take J too. Y&J and One Take J, but One Take J has a lot of like lines in the songs where it's like he's rapping and he's saying some hard shit, and then he just says some like caption ready bar that like just sticks in your head, and you're kind of smiling now while you think it's hard. I think that kind of emotion doesn't really get pushed as much, and like at least it wasn't as pushed, where it's like, you know, music is supposed to create like a feeling and an emotion. Why not make us laugh too?
Yeah, you heard of D.Goody? I think Dizzle promoted him too. You should look at his music. He's like that. Like, he'll say something very Bay, 2-3 line, but then he'll say something real funny, and it's just like, that really works.
Yeah, it really does.
Especially for Bay Area rap. And I don't really feel like no one's really doing it, but if you look up D.Goody and his music, he's just like that. Like he'll say a funny ass line out of nowhere, and it's just like, yeah, that works. Comedy works, man.
I think so too.
I mean, comedy definitely gets you some more views here and there. You know what I mean? So any videos you have out right now?
Yeah, I got one video that I got shot It was January 7th. It was, well, I shot it on January 7th, which was the day that I like released my first song and had like my first big show. So I opened up for Zaybang and Little Bean at the Catalyst.
Nice.
So it was a good time. I got an Airbnb right next to the Catalyst and we filmed it there. It was this cool one too. Shout out to the owner. She was super dope too. We you could actually draw on the walls and shit.
Oh,
so like
Airbnb?
Yeah, at the Airbnb, you just couldn't touch the paintings, but you could draw on all the walls, and there was like, it was just one big loft, so like six beds, but one big ass room basically. And
Cool.
had a kitchen, had little bedroom, but the bedroom had like a wall, but it wasn't like closed off or anything.
This is in Santa Cruz, right?
Santa Cruz, yeah. And then
That's where the Catalyst is at.
we filmed the music video there too, and then we got some shots at the show, and then I think it got released just like the end of January, I want to say.
Nice.
And that was a good one too. That one,
Show.
How
was the show?
It was good. It was the first big show I had. We threw a show with the old brand I was working with back in October, but that was like my first actual show, I guess. And it was the whole thing was sold out. It was in the atrium, like the room on the side.
Yeah.
It's a super nice venue too.
Smaller, but
yeah, but it was
a little bar thing. Yeah,
definitely.
I love the atrium though. A lot of up and coming acts and promoters get to work out of that venue. So
yeah, definitely. And I think that it was like, it just went surprisingly really, really well. I didn't have nerves for the whole thing. And then like the morning of, I kind of felt like that pre-performance kind of thing. But then I realized this is something like I'm meant to do. I really feel like just grateful at this point that I have this opportunity. And it's like, even if I fuck it up, I've lost nothing. That's like at the end of the day. And so we got there, and I feel like it was weird because I had like my photographer with me, I had my videographer with me, just like a bunch of people taking pictures and videos of us, and we were just with these other artists, and everyone was just kind of like cooped up. It like the vibe was weird, but like me and my friend, my boy, shout out J Red, this is the dude that performed with me too. Me and him were just like sitting there just vibing out to the music until we ended up coming up. It was a good time.
I mean, show day's cool, man. As an artist, as a promoter, I mean, as a promoter, I have like the craziest feeling that day, but I can feel it because I would have like maybe 8 artists performing one night, or even more at a contest, and you just feel the artist's energy. And every artist is so excited. They go to the mall, they get a haircut, or they get a crew together, or they rent a room. But I think whatever you do, it's kind of cool because you just know that like there's not many people are artists. You know what I mean? In the world, right? So only a certain amount of people are gonna like have this feeling of like going to a show and performing.
Yeah,
it's a crazy feeling.
Yeah, it was like the day when I realized like this could really be like my life.
Yeah.
And like having days like that. I actually used to do music even before I started making it. Like I was singing in like an alternative band back in middle school. I did choir as well. I did like a couple like talent shows and shit. I was like singing before, so I already had felt being on stage and performing, so I guess that's why I didn't have much stage fright. But then when it came down to it, what I realized, it's like I get to go on stage and listen to music that I'm really, really proud of 15 minutes and just sing my lyrics. Like it's
so the whole thing
feels great.
I think for me as an artist, like touring was a nostalgic thing because like it's such a broke look, right? Like you're living in hotels and you're getting by on meals, but you're hopping city to city. And I don't know the word broke, but it's just like you're getting by on these small means, so you get across all these cities. Yeah, and it just looks so fucking fun.
Yeah, no, I still haven't gotten the chance to do that yet, but I'm excited.
Yeah, and just if you ever get a chance to like perform out of state, I think that's kind of going away more because you have to kind of be a bigger artist now to kind of be wanted out of state. But before it's kind of like, well, maybe I don't know.
It's leverage too. It's like if your name doesn't bring in business, then.
Yeah, but I gotta say that's gotta be an amazing thing just to have a big tour. I've never been part of a big tour. I mean, I've been kind of on the backstage of them and stuff like that, but seeing artists go on big tours, that's a crazy thing. Like, what's the big festival they have out there?
Where at?
The big festival, Coachella. Is it Coachella?
There's Coachella. There's Rolling Loud.
Rolling Loud. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's on my.
That looks crazy.
That's on my list for sure. Like my long-term goals. If I'm watching this in like 5 years, I'm trying to go perform at Rolling Loud. Man. Yeah, that's the plan.
No, that'd be great because you gotta do the turnaround shot where all the people are behind you like a mile back.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
It's
that shit looks wild.
It's just wild.
Yeah.
And every art, I don't care what level of artist you are, because I've seen them in the big ones, they all ask for that shot. They've all seen. So in every big artist, there's that little insecurity that they still want that fucking shot. With
Oh, I would just take it just to look back at it, like when I'm on my deathbed. You know, I'm like, that's sick. You know what I mean? Like
every artist does that.
Yeah, you never know what kind of conditions you could be inflicted with later on in life. So
well, it's funny because I've seen that as a promoter. I've done a show at a packed house, like it was just people from wall to wall, and it's like on my Instagram, so it's there. But every artist would like take the background picture, you know what I mean? Like, yo, and it's just like, I get it, you know what I mean? It's a culmination of making it and stuff like that too. You have a single coming out, right?
I have a EP dropping, and it's about a week from today because July 1st, so it's gonna be coming out on July 8th. I'm also trying to figure out. Well, right now I'm just editing this music video. We shot it with like no budget.
Did you edit yourself?
Yeah, I'm editing it all myself right now. Right now I'm using this. I was using Premiere Pro. I did like a rough draft on that because I had used that before as a kid. I did a couple movies, little things on there. But recently I've been using this one called Filmora, which is I was telling you about it a little bit earlier. Basically, it's just Premiere Pro except like a lot simpler. And you can add all these really cool effects that even have like AI tracking on them as well. Oh, really? So like you can kind of like have a highlight going around your body, and all you have to do is just drag a little filter in. They have different types of highlights. They'll have like stuttering ones and stuff. Yeah, it's like perfect for clips like even on here and stuff like that, or even just like little. I could use them for beat videos. I could use them for anything. So some of them are like paid. In order, you have to pay like the price of the program. I think it's like $80. You want to buy like the full version, but the free version has enough to do something with. But I'm probably gonna buy the paid version. This is what kids are doing right now because they're shooting them on the iPhone, which shoots 4K, and they're editing in apps like this, right? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you, but I've noticed an influx of videos like that. They don't look necessarily bad.
Yeah, it's like
the shot on like the iPhone.
The quality is there. I feel like people just don't want to get up and grind and just go do it. Like there's a lot more stuff that even I'm still realizing that, like, you know, for example, if I don't want to work like a minimum wage job, all I have to do is, you know, burn some CDs with my music on it, sell like 5 of them in an hour, and I'm making back whatever money I even spent on them too. And yeah, CDs are old, but like if I'm able to do that in an hour and just sell enough of them, it's like minimum wage job.
Yeah, well, that's what I did. That's how I did my job. I rolled with my guy Kato, who I met, and he basically showed me the hustle, and you get those CDs from Walmart, and then you do that.
Shout out to Yonix too. Yonix was the one that put me on that. He literally put me on that like the other day. Like just made me realize it because I spent so much time
in San Jose.
Yeah,
I know Yonix. Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, we filmed some of the music video over at the Tank Shop because I used to perform at that open mic. I performed there probably like at least 2 or 3 times a month. Just go down there. So, and the first time that I performed the song that I'm gonna release with the music video called Goosebumps. I didn't know
Yonix though. I gotta go see him, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I've actually Yonix used to perform at my shows back in the day. He used to do like the Rick Lee showcase and stuff like that. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, when I performed it there the first time, because Goosebumps, it's like a heavy bay, kind of like goofy, but at the same time it's like a little bit of talking shit kind of in there too. Because I do, you know, like a bunch of different types of mixes of like styles. I got R&B stuff where I'm singing. I got a lot of just goofy stuff, like having fun, you know, like other stuff like that as well. But the first time I performed it there, everyone just kind of like went crazy. There was a whole little dance circle going on, and then everyone kind of just looked at me and was just like, do it again. Like, and I was like, all right. And then ever since then, like every time I'd go, I just always end up performing it. So I was like, a lot of people were asking like when I was going to release it. So I was like, fuck it, might as well just invite these people to come in the Goosebumps music video. And then whoever showed up to the Tank Shop, we basically just got the rest of it done there.
Gotcha. And that was Yonix's song Goosebumps, right?
No, that's my song.
Your song.
Yeah, it's a song featuring my boy J Red, and that's the first track out of the 3 that I got on the album. So I got that one. Then I got Obsession featuring one of your old interns, Summy, as well. That song, and then I have
Summy or Sumi?
Summy.
Okay.
Yeah, and then after that I have a song called Vacations that I've been holding on to for like a really, really long time, but I kind of just remixed it a little bit, just made it sound nicer, and then that's gonna go out. So those 2 are like trap songs, and then I have a Bay Area song on there too, kind of like Bay, LA, just like West Coast, I guess. Yeah. And it's a remix of R.L. Stein's like Goosebumps, you know, like that theme where it's like dun 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 dun. What I envisioned was the thing, hell yeah.
It was like a horror story back in the day.
Yeah, it was like kids' horror stories. So they weren't really that scary, but as a kid, you know, you see that shit, you're like.
R.L. Stein. No, I remember that. And like he had like a little sitcom show, I think, after that, running for a while.
Yeah.
One of those Disney Channel things or R.L. Stein.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
Wait, so you were into the books before or something like that? Or
Huh?
You were in R.L. Stein books before?
No, not really. It was more of just I had that
on that
melody
word.
playing in my head for like 2 days, and I couldn't figure out where it was from. But like I had just like an idea, So I was like, might as well just make this happen because I realized what it was, and then I just kind of found a way to get it on piano and without the whole theme song, just that little thing, and then I just put it in. That was pretty much it.
I remember that green text and all that shit, like
Yeah.
the Goosebumps thing.
I could actually play a piece of it if you want to.
Yeah, you want to bust it out?
Yeah.
Bust that thing out, man. And tell people where your Instagram is at right now, if you can.
At BAYGObeats, BAYGOBEATS. Check me out. All platforms, everything. Spotify, BAYGO. Yeah, so I go by BAYGO as like an artist, like just my artist name, but then it's BAYGO and then BAYGObeats as like my producer tag as well. So
Gotcha. Oh, so it's all the same.
yeah, it's all the same thing.
Yeah, that's good. Gotta keep it,
Okay, so I'm just gonna play like. Well, actually, when do you think this podcast will probably go out?
Week and a half or less.
We can have it less. Oh,
Yeah.
perfect then.
Okay.
Yeah, I could play the song then.
Okay.
Pulling up, got him scared, he got goosebumps. Talk to your baby mama and we finna have a twosome. Got my hands down her thighs, got a spraying like a new gun. The way I'm looking at her neck, every goosebumps. God damn it, you be beating around the bush, you won't do none. Pulling up, got him scared, he got goosebumps. All that dishing on the net, you won't do none. Man, I think it's time to level up. Sipping from the bottle like it's water, I don't need a cup. Might just go fuck on your daughter if she got enough. Push the right buttons, get it started, make it fall in love. Damn. Where the hoes at? She done brought way too many. Where my bros at? Just got done fucking. Tell me where my clothes at. Thick bitch riding Six Flags. She won't go back. I'm in this bitch to get nasty. I'ma fuck it up. I stole this bitch cause she classy.
Yo, I like this shit.
I'll give
Yeah.
it if she is.
Thank you.
Making it clap in the back. She gon' get it stuffed. She gon' get it stuffed up like a turkey. Ain't slide sober. Only tuck that shit off a perky. Stones break bones. That this never hurt me. Only got one chance. So it's best you never curve me. She gon' get it stuffed. Smelling on my cologne, she gon' test her luck. News up all in my phone, I ain't pay a buck. That pussy free in real life, bitches show me love. I heard the pussy so tight it give you goosebumps, huh? I know that's a lie, but it fit about 2 chunks. Nah, I can't slide if that bitch got a loose one. Ride or die, I told that bitch she better choose one. Ooh, you better choose one, huh? Or else you finna lose one. Bitch wanna talk about slide down my block, you won't do none. Won't think I'll do something that is not me. Nah, I ain't tryna trade pics, ain't no swap me. I don't wanna give out free beats in some high heat. Bitch come suck on some dick, yeah, that talk cheap. Tryna slide up, tryna be where that box be. Pulling up, got him scared, he got goosebumps.
Yeah, that's basically it right there.
Yo, I like that, man. And that's on Spotify right now?
No, that one's gonna be. Well, yeah, I guess so. If this is getting made, like it's gonna drop on July 8th, so most likely a podcast editing and stuff like that, right? It'll probably take until July 8th. So
Okay, and the video was done at
the
the
video,
shop.
yeah, the video was done at the shop along with other couple places too, like at a liquor store we used to go to a lot, and then kind of just went around, mostly just stayed around SJ and stuff like that.
Cool, you shot in one day?
Yeah, just all one day, like no budget, off of my friend's iPhone, and
Off the iPhone.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good iPhone though. It was like the 13 Pro or something.
I think that's a benefit because if that's kind of a talking point for a video. If you say, yeah, I'm shot on an iPhone.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't being in media too. I think people get it construed that like you don't need hella good equipment. You need a lot of creativity in what you're shooting. As long as you have a lot of creativity, you're good.
Yeah, hell yeah, definitely. I think it just really just requires, you just have to keep it entertaining enough. I feel like music videos, some of them are really dope because they have a huge concept and huge budget behind it. But when you're lower budget and I feel like the concept of the music video is to give them something that's appealing to watch, that kind of just keeps their attention long enough to finish the song too.
Yeah, no, I've been on the back end of an artist, and then when you're dealing with an artist and budget, you're always talking about camera equipment and what they're using. This is the Red Dragon and all that. But in terms of a fan, like we give a flying fuck. Like,
Yeah.
when I'm watching as a fan, I'm like, I don't know, like just the way even Sammy promotes this shit. I'm like, yo, that's genius. Like,
Yeah, he's really
that's
good.
creative. It's clean and it's simple. It's not too much, not too less.
That's another thing too. Summy's definitely one of the people that I would consider one of my mentors too.
Yeah.
Like Summy's younger than me, but he plays a bunch of instruments and he's done, like producing, mixing, and now he's mainly moving towards basically what I'm doing, except he has triple the years of experience, and like his music is just really, really good. He taught me how to like parallel compress my drums and stuff like that, you know, just little things that like I would basically, whenever I hung out with him, we'd be normally making a song together, and then I would just kind of watch him work and then see what he's doing with stuff, kind of just take my own notes, and then if I have a question about something, he was more than willing to answer it. Super easy to work with too.
Yeah, he was an intern here, and I definitely noticed his skill level, and that complemented into his music. So I think he was trying to figure it out, which one he wanted to be, was an engineer, or an artist, or both.
Definitely, yeah.
But I think that's something you can kind of gravitate towards, both.
Yeah.
You know, while you're figuring it out in your artistry period, you can definitely float yourself. I mean, I always tell this as an artist, you definitely want to find some type of back end service you could do to keep yourself in the industry while you're making connections, because it's a lot easier to get connections having a back end service.
What I actually noticed too, so when I actually started making music as an artist, that actually acted as my back end.
Yeah.
Because I would use like performing, right? And then people were like, oh my God, that was dope. I love the beat. Like who made it or whatever. And it's like, I made the beat. Do you need beats? And I can send them out a pack like that night, because I have like probably solid 500 like on my computer.
You send them out that night too.
Yeah.
That's important for
that night, or like next morning, depending if it's like too late or something, like it's like 2 o'clock and I don't have shit on me or something. But mainly I try and get it out within like that 24-hour period of meeting them, because it's just quick.
That's smart. That's something that I kind of took onto my business too, is that you got to respond to people like within like 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
Just toast. Me, it was an hour. I would respond to you like fast, but I noticed that's the pretty much difference in someone being an amateur or someone being a professional. Is you're gonna send it back fast or not? Because even like when you heard stories of Kanye West when he was first coming up, he's just like what you did. He sent out, if he met you and you were credible, he sent you a beat pack.
Yeah.
You know, and if so, you had to have a name or co-signed by Jay-Z at that time or whatever. But Kanye West was just known for like just sending out work fast, or getting a beat out fast, especially if you paid for it and you were a big artist.
Definitely. And I think that's, speaking on that too, I think that one of the problems that I'm having right now
Procrastination
is no. Actually, I don't procrastinate
That's
with
not more people's
music
problems.
stuff.
Number one artist problem is procrastination. Usually.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But no, I get up and do the music stuff like every day, but it's really about making the right like connections, because I feel like I have a lot of really good beats. I've perfected like my workflow on FL, because I normally just mix on FL, and I've made people go from not liking FL to being like, dude, FL's the best thing in the world.
It's very adaptable, and it's when you look at it from a programmer standpoint, those guys don't have ego. You know, they're like, hey, they almost seem to take suggestions well from the consumer with Fruity Loops, with FL Studios.
Definitely.
Because that platform's super adaptive. Like Ableton, and there's I don't know if there's Ableton or Reason still. Are people still using that?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. This people see use Ableton. I think
Ableton's a very cool platform though, from what I've seen from beat making. I think for hip hop though,
yeah, because FL.
If you're doing dubstep, I've seen Ableton become a very reasonable software.
I actually would say that if anything, I feel like a lot of electronic music is actually made on FL.
Oh really?
On FL, because they have like the step sequencer on it too, and no other platform has that.
That one guy does it on FL. Skizzard, was it? He's a very famous dubstep producer. Okay. Skrillex uses FL. Well, he uses all of them actually. Really good producers are going to use all your softwares. You know, they're going to want to find. You know what I mean? I'm not sure how long you've been producing, but all good producers who produce like 24 hours a day are going to learn like acoustic, and they're going to go to acoustic eventually and try to record acoustic, and then change sounds with their own pitch variation. So
yeah,
you know, producers get pretty fucking technical when it comes to beat making.
Yeah, I agree with that.
How do you get your beat sounds? Because like, doesn't that determine where your sounds are at, and because it's a lot of it just on the sounds that you choose, right? When you make it.
Yeah, it's weird too, because I don't have a specific genre that I like gravitate towards other than like R&B, hip hop, trap. But I don't like just make bay beats. I don't just make boom bap. I don't, like I have a lot of different places that I kind of dip into. So it's like, really, I just kind of I like to not put any borderlines, on anything that I'm starting to make, because I feel like that's when I make like the best stuff, when I'm just completely open-minded and just no ego involved, no like prejudice towards what I'm making.
No ego is involved. That's very important. That's what destroys a lot of good music.
I think so too. I think that like it destroys relationships. It destroys. I've dealt with a lot of that as well, where it's like, for me, I'm the type of engineer in the studio where like when I'm working with somebody, I'm there to like make their best song.
Yes.
You know, and like one of the things that I'm also working on myself is like how to get the advice out in a good way too.
You're there for them.
Yeah.
Not a lot of engineers think like that.
Mm-hmm.
They only have one style of mixing or recording.
Definitely.
And you have to record their way or you have it mixed their way. And it's like,
yeah,
you're not a real engineer.
Yeah, definitely. But I think also it's like sometimes when ego gets in the way, it's like people are like, nah, this sounds good. But like, it's not coming from like an objective standpoint where we both just have the same objective. It's
From
like
a dominant standpoint.
Yeah. And they're trying to prove this extra, like, it's not that hard to be dominant. You just got to do what you want to do and do it for yourself. And that's it. Like, you know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean. I have these 3 E's that I go by in life, and I have 3 E's I use to pick out people that work here too, and they usually fare out well. And that's entitlement, ego, and energy.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have no entitlement. You got to kill your ego. You got to have good energy.
Definitely.
You know, with those 3 E's, you usually get a pretty good character on stuff. But usually when they have entitlement and they have ego, it's kind of one and the same.
I think so too.
Entitlements.
Especially nowadays, it's like
entitlement's through the roof right now.
Yeah, I think that because everybody is just so used to like an instant gratification world where it's like I can go on any app and get whatever the fuck I want right now.
Especially
like
women.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No, their entitlement has gone up. I'm just letting you know.
No, I agree with
they
that.
Weren't that. I'm not gonna say it like that in a sexist way, but I'm just saying like I didn't feel they were so entitled before. I've hollered at different generations of women. I've hollered at women that are my age, and how old are you?
I'm 22.
I've definitely dated women that are 22. So like, yeah, women that are in their 20s are for sure way more entitled.
Yeah, I think it's just, honestly, I think the whole thing is just crazy.
I mean, if it's a bad thing.
No, I don't.
It's a bad thing. I don't even know if it's a bad
yeah,
thing.
it's.
Is it
I don't.
a bad thing? I don't know. Like, let's talk about that.
I think
be a good
that
thing. Maybe women do need to feel more entitled to secure their seed for a better generation.
I think
you
that
gotta step up your game and procreate with them.
I think that women should be entitled to equality. You know what I mean? I think that like anything pushing towards that is right. But then once we kind of start crossing these borders where it's like, you know, if let's say, you know, there's a girl who wants to be like that boss ass bitch, you know, like wants to be that. At the same time, you can't expect a double standard where it's like, I'm going to be the boss of this relationship, but then you should also be buying me all of these things as well. And I shouldn't do shit for you. It's like, that's where it's kind of, it's a bad entitlement, you know, like.
I completely agree. I'm not going to go deep into it because it's a really,
it is a very touchy topic.
but
yeah.
Like, I'm going to agree with that because I just had that conversation with my girl and I kind of yelled at her and I was like, well, you don't have to pick and choose. I didn't want to use that terminology, but it's like, I told her, like, if you want to really build with your man, you should spend with your man. If you want a man that's going to pay for everything too, that's cool, but don't feel mad that you find yourself expendable at the end of the relationship.
Exactly.
Because you weren't willing to put in. Like, that's what men, and that's what entrepreneurial men, I think, see is like, hey, are you willing to put in? I can get any girl that wants to be taken care of. I'll just switch you guys out as soon as your 20 thing is over. You know what I mean? But like to build with someone, you're gonna have to like, you know,
it has to be on equal ground because.
But then it's not so equal for them. But then it's not so equal for them because they don't get paid the same as men do, and they have to spend a lot more money just to look good. As opposed to a man, we just get up like this and go out. We can still survive in the world. Can a woman survive in the world by just getting up out of bed and going out? Not really.
I think that.
I mean, it's a lot harder.
I think they could, but then they would probably have the same like amount of attention that like women would probably maybe even get the same amount of attention as guys do. Because I feel like guys don't really. They walk into the club, right? Well, and most guys in there like are not going to get attention from females. Right. You know, but women are always, you know, more done up and they do their makeup to make themselves look really well that even, you know, the ones that aren't as good looking are still going to get attention from men as well. Right. Like there's a wider gap and, you know, that's the give or take with it too. I think. Well,
you're saying if women are in the same building and they're done up and they're not, the one that's not is going to also get attention. You're saying?
I'd say the ones that are not, they may or may not. I don't really know what that is. You know, I don't really know that variable to it because most of the time when you go into a club, it's like,
that's an algorithm too. Yeah. And she's probably gonna get played, but from what guy or something like that.
No, I think that there's just different problems that men and women face
for sure.
And that's, you know, it's like
which aren't always equal.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. Like our problems aren't always equal
on both ways too. I think, but I think
it's hard to put it on paper.
And I think everything is kind of moving in like a, you know, just a pendulum too with everything regarding everything, because it's like that's what
agree.
then provokes people to think, like what you were saying, like where it's like now people are more entitled. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like now, because there was this, lack of like rights, like basic human rights for women, right? The pendulum started to swing, and then they're here. But then, once you're here, you end up swinging a little bit more towards the other side, where it's like now that's where the more entitledness comes out of it, So it's like it's just always just this ever swinging pendulum that's just waiting at that
era
midpoint.
of socialness. You're right. They're gonna still ask to be treated like a woman, in which they should, but they should have more rights, in which they should.
Exactly.
And it's a tough thing to call. Though, notice that thing that happened with women.
Because now, like, what is a woman? Right? It's like really just a person now, right? It's just men and women are right.
So a lot of women are calling themselves they. And I was having this conversation with a person yesterday, and she happened to be a 40-year-old female. She's like, "Well, I'm a she, and I'm completely fine with that." And I said, "Yeah, as you should be. You're a she. You're feminine." But I was trying to explain to her why I think girls are starting to call themselves they, 25 and below, and because they don't like the connotation that comes with, like, oh, she's coming, rather than they coming. Say they coming, you're not putting any kind of expectation on who's coming sexually by orientation.
Interesting.
Right? So you see my point, right? So women, in a certain degree of an era of anxiety, would not want to let a party know that a bunch of girls are coming. It's just they coming.
Yeah.
When you say they're coming in form now, you don't, like, if you were to hear a bunch of girls are coming as a man, you might dress your hair different or cinch up your, I don't know. You might just react differently toward what was said. But if you said, well, they're coming, then you're assuming that they're coming with boys and girls, and that you're not gonna try to do anything extra to accommodate the.
But I feel like that also, then again, like that emotion, I feel like doesn't always have to be a negative one. It could just simply be like a different one.
Not at all.
Right. And that's the other thing too, where it's like, as I was saying, like I feel like just in general, the physiologically, right? It's just men are just different than women.
Sure.
There's just different things. One thing that I actually was trying to figure out. So with I think this is interesting. So with the NBA and the WNBA, there's always like this thing where it's like women don't actually dunk as much as men do, right? And
they're
that's
dunking
like
now, though, right? I see some dunks.
There's
lately.
dunks, but like if you look at
like
like the top 30 dunks of each of them, like there's not nearly. I don't even know if there's even 30 dunks. So it's like. But the reason being is that apparently when girls go through puberty, their hips actually start to move in a weird way, which actually makes it harder for them to jump as high, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, but apparently there are actually kids that are now training through it. There's a way to train through it where you do certain exercises and you can keep your hips in the right spot so you can actually still get that bounce, right?
Which
but
is probably going to make it harder to have kids, though.
Maybe,
which is why they're having the hip shift, because
exactly. So that's the thing with it is like like it's just physiologically it's different, and then who's to say that if it's purely what we can see on the outside, right? What if people are just women feel differently than men because it's just different chromosomes that are being tied together too. So I think it's interesting, and I feel like we don't really know a lot about how the brain works to kind of really put a definitive answer on like this too, because I don't think that
you heard about Neuralink, right?
Neuralink is the thing that Elon is doing.
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
You heard about CRISPR?
CRISPR, I haven't heard about that.
CRISPR's trippy.
What is it?
CRISPR is a technology where they modify your genes to become perfect. So if they wanted to, you have brown eyes, so if they want to have you blue eyes before you were born, your parents would have to go to CRISPR, like a facility, and they would do something with your genome and throw something back in to your DNA, and then your kids would come out however you want them. So if they wanted them 6'5", now we are in this era where you could make them 6'5".
So you could literally, you
program your kid? Like you could literally program your kids.
Does it go down to like you could literally change the color of their skin and like their hair texture and stuff like that too?
I only researched so much, but what I do know is that in China there was like two parents that said, "Yeah, you guys, the government came in, like, can we give you CRISPR kids?" And they're like some high level government people. I don't know, but they were like, yeah. But they basically just went in, made them tall. They were twins or something. They took out all like the the genes that can get cancer and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They literally made them perfect, and they're in the world. They didn't tell the world exactly what they did to these kids, but they're CRISPR kids, like they are genetically modified. They're GMO kids.
How old are they?
I don't know now, but if you Google it, you know, CRISPR kids in China, you know, it'll tell you the whole thing. I wish I had my laptop.
I'm curious. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Look it up right now and talk about it.
That's crazy. That's another thing too. It's like people be asking me some of the dumbest questions that you could literally just sit on your phone and like Google. You know what I mean? Like, it just wastes time for everybody involved too. It's like, fuck it, let's just go on Google for this shit.
Or the CRISPR babies, yeah. So this is a clip, man. The CRISPR babies is a project where MIT Technology Review, where they were genome editing kids from Hong Kong. This family from Hong Kong, and I guess the video's on YouTube announcing the birth of the fraternal twins Lula and Nana, who are basically the first GMO edited babies out there. This is a clip, okay? Is gene editing allowed in China? Well, they allowed it for this particular situation. So, you know, China, who's very forthcoming in development now, they have a very democratic communism view on the world. I don't know. It's just, they're wild as fuck. They have a hybrid government right now, you know, because they're communism, but they're using democratic theories in their financial world, right, where it fits to advance their culture. And so they're going into a lot of things like space and military, but for sure they definitely allowed a family to have their kids.
I hope everyone doesn't just start doing this like the
well,
moment.
They're going to.
I mean, at least like right away, because like I'd like to see where these kids end up in 40 years before I was going to trust them to do that with mine.
Isn't that what we are? Isn't that all that we do? Is that we just see what happens?
Yeah,
we
totally
love that, right?
Yeah,
and we want to know, because China is going to want 7-foot Genghis Khan like soldiers back to take over the world, and China stated that. They want to have a superhuman race. I mean, it's not crazy. America,
fucking
you know,
insane.
when you look at America in the Olympics, we're so goddamn proud that our athletes are bigger and strong, and they know they're all full of steroids and shit. So having the superhuman race is not so crazy unless you look at it at another country.
Yeah,
you know, because 7-foot Chinese people are going to scare you, like if they're coming and shooting at you, and they're taking more bullets because they're genome edited. That's fucking scary.
Yeah,
that is scary. They can sniff you out because they have dog genes in their noses, and
that would be some shit.
Wouldn't you pay for that? Because I pay for a dog nose.
I mean,
would you pay for a dog nose? I mean, I'd pay for it. I mean, I don't know what.
But I mean, would it actually look like a dog nose, or
no,
just?
I'm sorry, that's not what I mean.
That would suck. I wouldn't pay for that.
No, what I mean is, would you pay for the genome editing to smell like a dog and see like a hawk? You would.
I think I would.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I totally would.
I would.
Yeah.
If it cost me $70,000 to look like a hawk does, and sees things mile away clearly.
Yeah, but the only thing is like we also don't know what that vision would look like from the hawk's perspective. So once you go there, it's like, oh fuck, you know, you might not be able to see certain things well, or something might not work out because their vision is meant for like the long distance
episode.
Yeah, and then you might not be able to read books, right? Who knows?
It might be adaptable though to the, I mean, we might get it to a point,
right? But that's the scary part is like you're just jumping in a lake. I mean, honestly, my vision works well, so like maybe that'd be a reason.
You don't. But and then again, you don't know what it's like to smell like a dog, because you know what they said. It's
you got to smell a bunch of shit that you don't want to smell.
Yeah, and they said like when you smell like a dog, like you know how you open certain things and it's like right fucking there, and it's like whoa.
Yeah,
that's what dogs do for something that can be far away. That's why you see them sneezing all the time, because like it's just so crazily in their nose.
I also think that your taste buds would probably change up too, because when you smell, it's 60% of your taste.
For sure.
Right? So it's like,
which is why I'm grossed out by smelling shit in the gym.
Yeah.
Because you know you're tasting.
Yeah, you kind of are. You know what I mean?
Or someone else's fart when you walk in.
Oh my God.
We all live that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like and especially if you're like drinking water or something at the same time, it's like now you kind of are tasting it. Like you weren't even eating anything before, but
you're totally sharing spit.
Yeah.
It's not as, you know, I like kissing, but it's just as bad. Yeah. Sharing spit. Yeah, but you know, I think we're going into an era where it's just some weird shit You know what I mean? Like CRISPR kids and genetically modify people. And I think studios are going to be all AI pretty soon.
Wait, what?
Studios. I think engineering is going to be AI pretty soon, which is going to put me out of business, you know?
Yeah, I mean, unless you just
going toward that.
You could also just move if you move with technology and then you just start buying those AIs, then you can.
I'm gonna have to do that.
You're good, right? I think that's the whole thing. I was gonna say that earlier, and then we started talking about something else. But I think the key thing as a producer, artist, and any of these people in this business, because technology is moving towards what's the most efficient and what makes the most money. It's all about adapting and being willing to take that step towards it and embracing it. You know, Lil Wayne also talked about an interview where it's like, the reason why he stayed like more relevant, you know, is that he recognized that this is what people are doing now. Like maybe not necessarily copying it, but just understanding it and accepting it, you know, versus like being so negative against it, because technology and innovation doesn't stop for anybody. You know, it kind of just keeps on going.
Lil Wayne says so much genius shit every time I see him on Instagram. There's just like, and he said something today that I saw. He said something. Repetition is the best teacher. That is so true. Repetition is the best teacher.
Most definitely.
That whole thing he did with Young Thug was just really fucking weird, though.
Yeah, but
Don't
like,
you think? I want to get your perspective. What was that?
I think that
And
like
I just don't know. I wasn't that deep into it. It seemed like doesn't seem like he has this thing with Baby, like his like being his dad, and they're all really tight. And he got jealous because Young Thug came into the picture, and then Young Thug shot at Lil Wayne's bus one time, and that kind of confirmed that they had this beef. And I don't know.
So I think what happened was, well, because I heard him, I saw like a post about it or something. He talked about how him and because that was with Rich the Kid, I think, right? Was Rich the Kid or was it Famous Dex?
Rich the Kid might have been involved in that. Yeah.
I think it might be Famous Dex or Rich the Kid, that album that the joint album, you're talking about that, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I want to say it's Famous Dex. Let me go.
I want to say it's Rich the Kid, but
I'm not sure. It's either one of them, dude. You could totally. I think it might be Rich. Actually, yeah. Let me see.
I think it is Rich the Kid, but I'm not sure. You might be right. Famous Dex too. I'm a little cloudy on stuff like that. The SoundCloud era clouded me.
That makes sense. There's a lot of.
I love the SoundCloud era though. To see those artists blow up, that was fucking crazy. 6ix9ine and all these
Rich the
numbers.
Kid.
He's doing Rich the Kid. Rich the Kid.
From my high school, not blew up.
Kid from your high school blew up in that SoundCloud era.
Huge, and these kids, they had money. They were, they had money. Private school. It was around Saratoga, Cupertino, from so.
Yeah, Silicon Valley kids.
These kids just gave them like $200 to like get a quick venue, and then boom, kid was really popular. All his friends came. His mom paid for all his shit.
Oh wow.
The kid was so good at connecting.
Damn.
And the other kid who was this antisocial producer. Kid, they literally got all these deals with Apple now. The commercial you just see is with Apple. They just got deal with Sony. They got a deal.
Who's this kid?
His artist name? I don't know his real name.
Tell him after the show talks.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
I got a crazy Lil Wayne story. He used to buy lean off my neighbor.
That's insane.
Yeah, 'cause my neighbor was paralyzed, so she get like bricks of codeine from her doctor, and then best buyer was Lil Wayne.
There you go.
Lil Wayne had a system. This is a clip when I get shot. From what I understand, Lil Wayne had a nationwide system of buying codeine from people. He'd have a bunch of his people reach out to people who were paralyzed or just whatever and ask for their codeine and buy it. And he would make his tour so that when he would stop in in the Oakland area, and this person was from the East Bay, she got the call. And then I thought it was bullshit until I saw Lil Wayne taking a picture with her daughter on a tour bus. And I'm like, okay, this may not be bullshit. But anyway, just thought that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is. That's insane. So he was buying that because like off of you said your neighbor, right, was selling it, right?
Well,
You said that your neighbor was selling
I
the
was getting it. Yeah,
Or getting it, okay.
Yeah, it sold it to him.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So then that was one of the people. Then he was just going around and doing the
One.
Oh,
He'd
okay.
buy all the bricks he could at a time.
Okay.
Lil Wayne was a real consumer.
It's a fucking expensive ass addiction, dude.
It was.
That's just crazy.
I think 300 to a brick, but he was paying up to 12, depending on what the market was at, 300
a brick,
which is 16 ounces.
Yeah. No, that's. I feel like it normally, like, I mean, from everyone that I've heard about it from, it normally goes for like more than that, but maybe because he's buying in bulk or something.
300 was a break though. This is like 8 years ago.
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense then. That makes sense. Yeah.
Now it's like what, 1,200 a brick or something?
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
got to be like at least that much.
It
But
used to be like 300 a brick, like maybe 7, 8 years ago. I want someone to comment on that in this clip because this is gonna be a clip. So if I'm wrong, tell me. But tell me how much a brick of codeine costs in the comments. In about 8 years ago, that's how much. Yeah, at the time I think I bought it.
some people be charging like 100 a line or some shit too. Like
100 a line.
Yeah, people be trying to charge
Do
that.
people still do codeine? I thought it was out of
It's
date.
like 200 a line now.
200
Really?
a line.
200 a line.
I don't do it anymore, but like
A line? It's not a line. It's liquid. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't do that shit.
probably
For the
What
record.
is a cup?
It's like
A Robitussin cup is a line?
or, no,
You gotta
it
say
depends
shots.
It depends what you want. If you want that, like, if you want that, I think high tech's band activist. One of my friends used to make fun of me because like you're super on Tris or something. Like I'm like I don't even know. There's different levels of lean.
Yeah, there's hella levels of
And
lean,
it's
bro.
so
And there's because all these companies that took them on that wanted to make secondhand lean.
They won't.
Secondhand coating's a big
Anyone
market.
anymore. They won't, like it's really fucking.
A line.
Yeah, I had a dirty doc, and they wouldn't even give that out to me.
Damn.
I did codeine one time. It felt pretty goddamn good.
No.
I took it in the hospital too. It was even better.
That's probably.
Have you taken codeine before?
Yeah, like once, like in high school or something like
But
that.
did they ever give it to you? Did they ever give you morphine in the hospital?
No, not morphine.
If you ever do morphine, it's fucking nuts. No, I mean when I die, I want to die off of morphine. Like if I die, I want them to hit me. Have you ever done DMT?
No, not DMT. Done like shrooms and acid and stuff like that.
Shrooms is
but-
good. Shrooms is good.
Yeah.
Shrooms is good.
I think actually, funny story. I actually started making music after a shroom trip.
Nice.
So like I was
You weren't an artist before that at all?
no like not even producer. Like this was like right when quarantine started. I took some mushrooms, laid in my room for a while, and then I kind of realized like why I want to like what my purpose I feel like is. It's like
Just pops with shrooms, man.
right and well, because I already kind of knew this. I always wanted to like help people. That was one of the big things is like giving
Develop
back,
people,
right?
Yeah.
And help people and like give some
I
type
want
of
to teach.
yeah, hell yeah. And then I was just sitting there and I realized like, okay, I could be. The first thing I thought of is like right off the top of my head, it was like psychology, right? I could go be a therapist, but then I realized it's like
It's just
as
people complain.
yeah, and like the thing is like I get to sit there and like basically help one person for 2 hours, and I don't even get to like state my opinion. And me, I'm more of like an opinion like go getter type
You
of
can state
person.
your opinion.
Sort of like in therapy, you're not really like allowed to give advice
You're
because
interpreting their shit.
basically, yeah, you don't really get to give
And
advice.
it's usually overprivileged people.
I
I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people
I wouldn't-
who
I
have
would- I
mental
disagree with that.
trauma that cannot afford.
Oh, it's totally.
I'm glad that you don't agree with that, but I'm just saying, like, it's a lot of people that need it,
yeah,
right?
that I agree with.
And those people are usually. I'm just saying, like, in terms of someone that I could know, he's looking at like, there are so many people that need this service. But the people I'm usually giving it to are people that are very rich, very well off, and they're just not happy with their lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my doctor always complain. All his complaints are it's not that he's a bad doctor. It's only the people who can afford it. Complain.
Right, the good treatment.
Yeah, but not that it's like I got money or anything. It's just you're paying for the real deal because there's some shit.
There's some shitty doctors out there.
There are some shitty doctors, but I was gonna finish this story too.
Yeah.
So this, I realized like I wanted to help people. I could do that, but that was my reasoning for like not going to that. And then everything just kind of clicked. I was like, with music, I can save somebody's life indirectly. I could save a party. I could save an experience. I could help someone understand what they're going through because my music comes from me. Even if it's funny shit like that song I just showed you, like trying to hype up a party and like just get people having fun, right? Or if it's something a little bit on the deeper side where I kind of go through my psyche and like problems that I've had and stuff like that. And like with that, I realized like, one, I've always been good at giving advice to people too. If I can incorporate that in a non-corny way into music that's more meaningful, I can kind of touch that side of people and I could give people therapy, with my own opinion and with my own creativity too.
I like that. I like that.
It's like fucking, what is it called? What's that? There's like a term for something that is like covert. It's like covert therapy, I guess, where it's like you
I've
listening
heard
to a
that
song
term.
for so long, you know, like it's just you don't even realize it. Maybe like subliminal, I guess is another probably a better word for it, but like subliminal therapy, where it's like you listen to a song so much, you listen to an artist so much that your mindset may start to mold a little bit towards that because you're hearing their vibe and their emotion kind of come through music too. So that's why I want to provide for people too at the end of the day.
That's dope. Hey, we are about an hour. We do an hour with my boy BAYGO. I appreciate you coming on the platform.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You got a song coming out which you just played, right?
Mhm.
Goosebumps.
Yep.
That's for JR Red.
Yeah, J Red, yeah,
J-Red.
J.Red.
J.Red.
Then I got that because that song is a part of an EP as well. It should be out by the time this podcast ends up going up.
Got
But
you. And the name of the EP.
the name of the EP is Most Wanted.
Got you. Most
Yeah,
Wanted.
Most Wanted. That song I played earlier was called Goosebumps featuring J Red. I made the beat, mix and
I
master.
love Goosebumps. It's a banger.
Thank you.
It's a
Appreciate
banger.
you.
I want to hear more of your other stuff though that are not so bad, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We can find you on Instagram at BAYGO Beats, and I understand that as BAYGO Beats.
Yeah,
Right? But
exactly.
you got Spotify too.
Exactly. My beats are from the Bay and they go.
Okay.
Simple as that. Yeah, I make beats that
Beats from the
slap.
Bay and they
Yeah.
go.
I make beats that slap. That's it.
I like that.
Yep.
His beats
Come
really
follow
do
me.
Slap. Go follow him. You on Spotify and YouTube?
Yep. Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, everything.
Okay.
Anywhere you can find me. You can even look up BAYGO on like TikTok as well, and you can find mine. There's like another dude that has something that's also called BAYGO, but I think his is like in all caps. Mine is not, but I don't even know what that shit is.
All right, so look,
I'm
man,
the
look
real
up my
BAYGO.
man BAYGO Beats, man. Fire content today. I appreciate you coming on the platform.
Appreciate you having me.
Really good music. Go look up the Instagram. I'm gonna tag him in all the comments and all the clips, man. Go look him up. BAYGO Beats. All right, artist, producer, definitely dope. Really humble to have you on, my guy.
Appreciate you.
All right, Create Podcast number 55. I think 55, man. We getting up there, boy. BAYGO Beats.